Welcome to Rankadvertiser podcast, where we inspire, enlighten, and empower every single person today. Hello everyone, I hope that you are all doing well. Just want to tell you about this new podcast that I just started. It's amazing, and we have one purpose: to inspire, enlighten, and empower you. So I'm inviting you to join me today in this podcast. Welcome and welcome and welcome again. And the cool things I want to share with you, coming soon, our first episode with Beth. She's going to be sharing about what it means to be a woman entrepreneur and how you can build your own business today. The opportunity that she has for you is amazing. Guess what? Stay tuned for our first episode coming soon. To all of you out there ready to watch, I'm inviting you. Welcome to the podcast.
Because in my profession, I have to say, I think the single largest thing that comes up for people is a desire to quit too soon. It's something new for a lot of individuals when they've decided that they want to become an entrepreneur. So we've developed a very specific ebook that really helps them determine some 10 things that they would look for when they're making a decision about building an online business. So we really want to help them kind of, weed through that decision-making process. And then we also want to make sure that they get that this is a long-term thing. They're not going to be in and out of it in a week. They're not going to make a fortune overnight, because anybody who tells someone as an entrepreneur that they're going to make a fortune overnight, I'd really like to have a serious conversation with them, because I'd love to know what that looks like. It does take time. It does take energy, and it does take commitment. And so I think for me, it's just believing long term, that the decision that you've made and the people that you're surrounding yourself with and being taught by people who can demonstrate long-term results is really an important part of making that decision. So staying the course, I think, is probably the best piece of advice that I could give someone who wants to get into this business and be an entrepreneur.
Perfect. Would you say that it's very important to be resilient, to really build the ability to believe in the dreams and to keep pushing and expect that despite the challenges, it's just that you can overcome them, having that attitude? Do you think that would help? Is it something that you really seek into once you're mentoring newcomers? Is it something that you develop in them? So how does that work in terms of attitude and
Yeah, it so much of it is mindset. I mean, it really is. I mean, we have this saying that, your business as an entrepreneur is really only going to grow to the extent that you do. And it's really true. When I first started and, the community was maybe a few thousand people, in order to believe that it is possible to have an organization that currently reaches nearly 20,000 in 7 countries, I always had to believe that. I always needed to believe that we were really just getting started. And so, yes, perseverance and the ability to, shake off those things that might get you down, they're absolutely a tremendous part of this. And I think it's not just our profession that's true for, but I think it's any time you want to venture out on your own and you want to be an entrepreneur. In this particular environment, you can do it on your own. You just don't need to do it by yourself, which is really, really key. The ability to say, you know what, I am in partnership with a multitude of people who have my back and I have theirs, and there's no stopping that. So on those times when, it's a tough day, and there are tough days, and there have been some tough days, especially since the pandemic,
Yes.
because it's hard to have ongoing conversations with people who are really struggling out there and not have that necessarily impact you. And so my way of being able to protect my my mentality, protect how I see the world, is as much about knowing and certainty as it is about my faith. And not only my faith in God, but my faith in myself and my team, and just believing that what we're up to and where we're headed is very significant, and never losing sight of that.
Perfect. And I wanted to ask these questions for the people who are watching or listening. They're asking themselves, so what are some of the opportunities if they want to enter this business? As you've been there, you've been building it, you've been successful, what can they expect as opportunity for themselves coming in the room? And what would you say that is? What are those opportunities?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that's the beautiful thing about it, is that you get to decide that, right? Each individual gets to decide that. And what we love to be able to do, especially right now, is we're working with whoever is willing to raise their hand and say that they're willing to put in the time and effort and be taught how to do this, that we can help them in a 90-day period of time earn anywhere from $10,000 and above. And that may sound like a lot, and it may sound like a really big promise. And yes, there are variations on that theme. Yes, if you're not willing to put in the time, you're not going to earn that kind of income. But we have a very, very clear path to assist people in accomplishing that goal. In fact, we actually have an online course that enables people to do that. They can take this course. It'll take them anywhere between 3 and 5 hours to get through the materials. And it gives them very specifically, step by step, exactly how to lay it out, exactly how to do it. And then all of our coaching, in addition to that, is free. The course itself is $97. It's very affordable. But it's like being able to kind of have a look behind the curtain, so you know exactly what to do. And then we're here every step of the way beyond that. So there's really, you've got $97 to invest in an online course that'll, help you step by step. And then it's a portion of your grocery dollars every month to divert to an online grocery store. And then away we go. And we're there every step of the way to make sure that you become successful, just like we have been.
Perfect. I will be linking all the links for the course as well, so you all are able to go ahead and click on it and have access to the course with Beth. So I wanted to ask, the next question is, how does this business work for someone who want to understand the work commitment? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so the work commitment, again, it depends on what you have available. There are people that I work with right now that, they have maybe an hour a week available. So therefore, their expectations in terms of their income is going to be a little bit different. We liken it to the gig economy, right? So there's a whole bunch of gigs out there right now. Not very many of them are actually working the same way that they did. If you take Uber as an example, Uber was really set up so that people could make a side income and they could do it when they wanted to do it, but they had to do the work that one time and get paid that one time. In our business, you do that work one time and you're paid for the rest of your life. So it's a very, very different type of equation. When I work with people who have between 5 to 10 hours a week, their incomes and their results are significantly more as a result of the amount of time and effort that they're willing to put in. We teach people how to be in communication in a wide variety of different social media platforms. I'm just a newbie when it comes to Instagram. I've spent most of my time building my organization on LinkedIn, and then with the networking that I love to do with human beings because they're so awesome. And so Instagram's kind of a new one for me, but there's lots of different variations of social media platforms out there to connect with people and help them understand what we understand in terms of teaching step by step how to do this.
Perfect. That is amazing. And my next question for you is, what do you hope to achieve with this business? What is the holistic purpose?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking that question. I really appreciate it. So, part of my story is that nearly 20 years ago, it'll actually be 20 years in December of this year, I had a heart attack. And I survived that heart attack, and I was 36 years of age. So, that tells you how old I am. I'm going to be 56 next week. I can't believe it. It's gone so fast. Anyway, but yeah, so when I had my heart attack, it was a very interesting phenomenon because I wasn't overweight. I was taking good care of myself. I was eating well. I was doing all the things that I thought I needed to do. And it was mostly stress related because I don't have heart disease in my family. And then my best friend died of tongue cancer a few years later, and she was a non-smoker. So for me, it was those two things that came together to be able to really start asking myself some hard questions about what is going on in our food supply. What is going on that we are feeding our bodies things that are not helping our bodies thrive long term. So I did a lot of research, and I surrounded myself with people who are much smarter than me when it comes to nutritional MDs and all of those types of individuals in my life who have made a career out of knowing all of the ins and outs about what we can do to help our bodies heal naturally. So that was really a big part of my mission and why I am so dedicated to it. Because I want as many people in our world to understand and appreciate that we each are given the ability to help our bodies live and thrive to their maximum capability. We just have to be very clear about what it is that we choose to put in our mouths. And it's really important. And what I see for the long term is that ultimately we are going to reach many more countries than 7. We are going to ultimately have an organization that has hundreds of thousands of people in it who are each recognizing that we really do have a say about how we care for our bodies. And they are our temples. And so it gives us a whole bunch more opportunity to share really good news and hope throughout the world when we're taking care of us first.
Perfect. That is so powerful. I love what you just said. It's very powerful. And I'd like to, as we are getting toward the end of our podcast today, I'd like you to take a moment and literally share the message that you want the audience to get about this podcast, this first episode. What is that is the calling, the moment, the action that I need to take to really be part of what you have shared with us today? I'd like to give you a moment to really share about that.
Yeah, well, so I'll tell you, I would love to have a conversation. I'm the kind of person that enjoys Zoom instead of, in front of people in person right now. And in person is actually my number one love. But certainly reach out to me via my email, again, which is beth@masterthenewway.com. Or please text me, call me on my cell phone, which again is 206-459-2854. And I'd love to have a conversation with you. Ultimately, the message that I want to make sure that lands on you and stays with you, no matter what transpires over the next few months, is that there is always hope. Always. There's always something for you out there that can really be a vehicle for you to reach and impact and have a positive impact on countless numbers of lives. And I know I have one of those vehicles that would enable you to do that. So if you're committed to sharing hope with the people in your lives, hope for their ability to care well for their bodies, hope for their ability to generate an unlimited amount of income, I would love to be able to have that conversation with you, because that's exactly what we are committed to doing.
Perfect, perfect. That is amazing. And thank you so much, Beth. I really appreciate that. I have one last question. This is one of the questions that I would like to ask you. What is the one thing that keeps you awake at night? What is the one thing?
Well, it's kind of a long list right now, Gloria. There's so many things going on in our world. But I will answer your question. The one thing that keeps me up at night more often than not are the people that I've not been able to reach yet.
Okay. Wow, that's very inspiring. Thank you so much, Beth. This has been an amazing chat. I really enjoy what we've been sharing here today. It's been very powerful, very inspiring. Hopefully, to all of you listening right now, I hope that you take advantage of this moment and that you really step into this moment and take this inspiration and do something with it today. And I invite you all to go on mastertheway.com, and if you want to contact Beth, go ahead under the contact button, click on contact, and that's how you're going to be able to reach out to Beth. If you have any questions relating to business, how to get started, this is how you get started with Beth, and this is how you do it. And thank you for listening. And for those of you who have questions for me, feel free to write me your question at support@rankadvertiser.com. I thank you all for listening and taking your time to being part of this podcast. Thank you so much.